All right, hey guys, today we're going to talk about the shots being fired that start World War One, and there's a lot of issues leading up into this. The essential question says, was it possible for the U.S. to maintain neutrality in World War One, neutral? Was it possible for us to stay out of it and not involve ourselves at all? Okay, so we'll go back and try to answer that at the end. So these are called shots fired. All right. So literally what you can think of as the um, initial issue or short-term cause of the war happens here, June 28, 1914. The heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne is Archduke Franz Ferdinand. So he's not quite in position to run Austria-Hungary yet, but he is the heir to the throne. He has left this area and he's visiting Bosnia's capital of Sarajevo. And he's riding in this motorcade parade, if you will. And of course, they don't have security and things like they do today. So he's in an open air car, and he and his wife and a Serbian terrorist, because the Serbs hate the Austro-Hungarians. Serbian terrorist Gavrilo Princip is going to rush to the car and shoot them, literally at point blank range, shoot them to death. All right, I have some pictures. This is called Picture Before Dying, and it's going to show you the picture of the couple. There they are. This is a gentleman shaking their hand. Here is Franz Ferdinand, okay, and his wife before they were shot, obviously in an open air car in this parade. Okay, and then I also wanted to show you, I believe there's a picture, here he is, of Gavrilo Princip, and some information that it tells about him. Okay, all right, so basically that's June 28th, 1914. So 1 month later, July 28th, 1914, Austria-Hungary is going to declare war on Serbia. Now, this is going to get confusing, so make sure you know Franz Ferdinand, the one who was shot, is going to be the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, AH, I call it. So he's the heir to AH. The Serbs do not like him, obviously, and one of them shoots him dead. They don't like Austria-Hungary. So Austria-Hungary is going to turn around, and of course, logic would say, declares war on Serbia. Okay, 1 month later, after building up their resources, they're going to declare war on Serbia. A few days later, on August 1st, 1914, Germany, under the leadership of Kaiser Wilhelm I, is going to declare war on Russia when the Russians mobilize their army towards Germany. Why Russia? Why is Russia mobilizing its army? Because Serbs are an ethnic group involved in Russian culture. So they're like cousins, sort of. Okay, so Serbs and Russians are closely related, and this is like Austria-Hungary picking on Serbia, Russia's little brother, and Russia's not going to take that. So Russians mobilize their army towards Germany. Why they're mobilizing towards Germany? Because Germany has a deal with Austria-Hungary. They are allies. And Germany and Austria-Hungary have made a deal that if one is in trouble, the other one will come help or whatever. So Germany is going to declare on Russia when they see Russians coming at them. All right. Then August 3rd, Germany decides to declare war on France because it's an ally of Russia, and invades Belgium for the heck of it on their way to take Paris. On August 4th, Great Britain, who's an ally of France, declares war on Germany. See? So we've got like dominoes. Someone's nice to someone else, and then we have an enemy over here, and when he attacks one, it's like he's going after all of them, and then they all declare war on him. All right, so to help with your understanding a little bit, this is an interesting graphic that'll help make sense of it all, maybe. You see Russia, France, and Britain. Now, you have to keep in mind, Russia was an ally of our people, the French and the British, at this time. So Russia, Britain, and France are going to be in a similar alliance. Remember, Russians are ethnically related to Serbs. So you see here there's sort of a tie between the Russians and the Serbs. They're on their side. Austria-Hungary over here was attacked, remember, by the Serb, Gavrilo Princip. So he attacks the heir to the throne, Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary has a deal with Germany, they're best buddies, and Italy. And Germany says, hey, we're not going to take that. We're going to declare war on Russia to back you up. Okay, so Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Germany wants to declare war on Russia. France decides, oh my goodness, what's going on? Germany wants to declare war on France also because they're an ally of Russia. Okay? All right. So we call this the Triple Entente. Triple Entente known as the Allies. France, Russia, Britain, and Italy. Italy's going to flip sides in 1915. Allies promised Italy the Austria-Hungary territory after the war. So right now, they're with the Entente, okay? France, Russia, and Britain, and Italy, although they will flip over here, okay? So the graphic I showed you was like a 1914 graphic. All right, then Triple Alliance, known as the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and Turkey, which will fill Italy's place in 1915. So the Entente, France, Russia, Britain, and then later Italy comes in. They're flip-floppers. Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and later the Ottoman Empire or Turkey. Okay, so Germany, I already said, swept through Belgium to take France and does so very quickly, drives back the Brits and the French. Lots of bloodshed. But surprise, the Russians invade Germany, which means the Germans have to pull troops out of France to fight in Germany because the Russians are coming. And this weakened the German force. Okay, well, I don't have a picture of that. I really need a picture to show you. But basically, Germany is in France. Okay, that's west. And here come the Russians from the east. So the Germans have to go back home to the east to fight the Russians, or else their country is going to be run over. Okay, so they have to pull out of France to do that. 30 miles from Paris at the Battle of Marne, the Germans are stopped by the Entente, the Allies, and they become locked in this bloody stalemate that lasts 3 years. Stalemate meaning no one really won, no one really lost. Both sides had similar amounts of death and casualties. It was really bad. Here is a picture of that. So the Battle of Marne. All this out here is called no man's land because no man can stand out here and survive. Trench warfare you see beginning to start here at the Battle of Marne. We'll learn more about trench warfare later and the problems with that. So the U.S., what are we going to do about this? Okay, are we going to get involved? So in keeping with the tradition of George Washington, you may remember from America One, we decide under Wilson, we're not getting involved in this European mess. We're going to stay out. He states we must be impartial in thought as well as in action. So he's saying we're not going to take sides with our thinking or our actions. We're staying out. Since the British are sending pro-Britain propaganda to the U.S., they want us to come into the war. Why? Why do they want the United States to come into the war? Because they know that we're going to come in on their side. They're our friend. And they also know that they need help and we can provide it. It says businesses supported Britain to British-U.S. trade. Okay, to wrap it up, Wilson wins re-election with the slogan, "He kept us out of war." So he's even promising, I'm going to keep you out, and he wins re-election with that. Here's a good example of Button from the time he kept us out of the war. So it's true that he really did say that. All right, it says the Germans have one hope against the British Navy, and that's their new weapon, the Unterseeboot, underwater boat, a sub. So the British start blocking German ports and taking whatever's on board as contraband. And the Germans get really upset at this for the British taking their things. So it says the Germans know they're going to stop this with the U-boat and any supplies coming in from the United States to Britain. So on May 7th, 1915, very important, passenger ship Lusitania is going to be sunk by a U-boat, killing 1,200 passengers, including, this is a British ship, but 128 Americans were on board. Not good. Okay? Not a good idea. Now, here is the German Unterseeboot, underwater sub. Okay? And here is the Lusitania. That will be sunk. British ship, 128 Americans, though, on board. 1,200 die. The U-boat attacks the British ship because the British have been taking contraband and supplies from the German ships. Now, do you think Wilson's going to go to war now that we have the Lusitania sunk by a U-boat? Remember, he's a Democrat. He's promised he kept us out of the war. So, the Sussex Pledge is signed. Sussex Pledge. And it's between us and Germany. After the Lusitania sinks, we sign a deal with Germany. And the Germans said, pretty please, just believe us. We're no longer going to sink passenger ships without first warning you, calling you up on the phone and letting you know. And the Americans say, oh, well, we have this deal with the Germans. They're not going to blow up any of our ships without warning. Sign the deal. We promise, U.S., not to enter the war. So far, Wilson keeps his promise, even though the Lusitania sinks and 120 Americans die. Wilson signs the Sussex Pledge with Germany because Germany promised, pinky swear, that they were not going to attack us without warning first. Okay? All right. Here's the Lusitania in the news. It's a big deal all around America. New York Times, Lusitania sunk by submarine. They're guessing again, yellow journalism, how many are dead. Twice torpedoed off the Irish coast, sinks in 15 minutes. Oh me, so kind of a mess. But yet, we do not enter the war. All right, let's go back to our essential question, which said, was it possible for the U.S. to maintain neutrality? So far, yes, it was possible. Wilson signs the Sussex Pledge when Germany promises not to sink our ships anymore, and we do remain neutral so far. Forever, probably not going to happen, okay? But up to now, we're good to go. Make sure you go back and you write your summary for the notes, okay? And I'll see you guys later.